Good afternoon and welcome to the first showing of the Sports Sitdown. This show was created for us to showcase our thoughts about daily sports news. I'm your host, Sine Singani. And with that being said, let me introduce the panelists for today. On my right, I hear CJ, there's Nate, and Kieran. So guys, let's start with some NBA. Free agency just about to get done. A lot of moves, a lot of new things going on, a lot of new faces and new places. So let me read some of the big moves this summer. Paul George was traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Gordon Hayward went green to the Celtics. Jimmy Butler went to the Wolves. Paul Millsap to the Nuggets. And Chris Paul went to the Rockets. So guys, who won this free agency? Let's talk some winners and losers. CJ, go ahead.
Well, in my opinion, I think the Kings actually have one of the biggest winning things in the league this year. In the draft, they got De'Aaron Fox, star from Kansas. They managed to get George Hill and Buddy Hield also. And, well, I think that they've strengthened their bench a lot, too. And overall, I mean, they're not going to be able to challenge the Warriors because it's just going to be rough to challenge them this year. Their core is so good, and KD being there, too. But I think that they're going to make a run. They've got a young team. They've got a good bench. I think they've got a good shot of at least challenging the Warriors and making it rough on them the whole year.
We'll see. Go ahead, Nate.
My winner is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, they won Paul George, an all-star who was the best player on the Pacers. And I think a really big win, actually, was getting rid of two big contracts, including $84 million in Victor Oladipo, who's actually a mystery player. He was very good in Orlando. Kind of was a little bit disappointing in the Oklahoma City. And what is he going to do in Indiana?
All right, Kieran, what do you have?
I agree with CJ. Nobody can challenge the Warriors, but I think the Timberwolves had an amazing offseason. They got Jimmy Butler. They did lose Zach LaVine, dunk contest champion, but still I think Jimmy Butler's a great veteran presence on that team. They also lost Ricky Rubio and got Taj Gibson and Jeff Teague, who's a star point guard, and I think that can really help them and give the Warriors a run late.
All right, I have the Warriors personally. When the prediction was coming into free agency that they were not going to retain Iguodala or Livingston, they re-signed both of them, got Kevin Durant for a cheaper deal, and of course re-signed Steph Curry. And not only that, added the marksman Nick Young. He's a great shooter. They dominated, and even though most of you guys might hate that, they did pretty good.
And they did add Omri Caspi.
That is also true. All right, let's talk some losers now.
Yeah.
Who do you have, Kieran?
I got the Cleveland Cavaliers. You have Kyrie Irving. He has by far the best handles in the NBA and arguably the clutchest shooter right now. I agree with him that you don't want to be the son of LeBron James, but still, that's such a good team. I don't know why you'd want to leave, and the Cavs, that's a vital piece they lost in Kyrie Irving.
That's going to be interesting to watch. CJ,
My
who's your loser?
My opinion this year, my big loser is the Washington Wizards. I mean, they've got a limited cap space, and they've been really having to struggle with that, I think, for a couple of years now. And they passed in signing any key free agents. I mean, especially because they have a lot of money tied up in John Wall. They didn't sign Dion Waiters. They didn't sign Paul George. They didn't go after Jimmy Butler. They didn't really go after anyone super big this year, and it's because all the money's tied up. And I think that's going to limit them for the next few years. You got all the money tied up in one or two players. It's going to be hard to maneuver around that.
My loser is actually the Atlanta Hawks. They lost Paul Millsap to the Nuggets in free agency and traded away Dwight Howard, who actually just came to his hometown, which was Atlanta, and they traded him to the Charlotte Hornets. And what's even worse, 2 years ago, in 2015, they had the 1 seed in the East, and all the key players, Al Horford, Jeff Teague, Kyle Korver, all of them are now gone. So I think that's a very big loss.
Yeah, well, I have the Utah Jazz. They lost Gordon Hayward. They lost George Hill. A completely new backcourt. I don't even think they're going to be a playoff team this year. So I have them losing. Sorry, Utah. I just have to go with Utah Jazz. All right, so now let's transition to some baseball. The San Francisco Giants.
Yeah,
Boy.
embarrassing.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
I don't understand what is going on, guys. I'll read some stats to you. They're dead last in the NL West. Only 40 wins. Let me read some stats. For runs, they rank 28th.
Ooh.
Batting average, 25th. .245. On-base percentage, 29th. Slugging percentage, 30th. Those are horrible numbers, Kieran.
boy.
Tell me, what's wrong with the Giants? What is happening?
Well, in their defense, they play in a 5-man division. 3 of those teams will be going to the playoffs, it looks like right now. I think they have a good roster. Posey, Belt, if Madison Bumgarner, if they put it together next year in a couple years, I think if that team, they can get rolling. When your ace pitcher goes dirt biking on his day off and gets in an accident, something's wrong with that team.
Yeah.
They lost Eduardo Nunez. That was a rough time. He was pulled out of the on-deck circle, and he left to the Red Sox. But I think I don't know.
Yeah, well, remember they did add Pablo Sandoval, who actually was very helpful in their World Series runs. In even years, I shall add, because Giants fans believe there is a superstition that they only do well in the even years. I don't know if you guys believe in this, but yeah. And also, according to the Busters manager, the Giants manager, Bochy, yes, Bruce Bochy. There's just no rhythm, no trust, and no belief. Like, the next man up, he just believes he's going to get struck out. It's really horrible, a horrible situation.
Well, in my opinion, the problem this year has especially been the pitching. I mean, Jeff Samardzija, they got him in a big free agent deal, and he's been inconsistent. I mean, he's been off and on. He had some good streaks, he's had some bad streaks, but he hasn't been able to chain his good streaks together in one long good streak. Matt Cain, he's been battling elbow issues. We know that's been an issue the entire year, but he still hasn't been pitching as much as we've been paying him. And even Johnny Cueto, and he was one of our best pitchers last couple years. When we signed him, everyone thought it's a big waste of money. He's been one of our more consistent pitchers the entire year, and he hasn't been dominating as much as he had in the past. And then especially with our bullpen, Mark Melancon, we signed him. He was one of the best closers last year, and he's been blowing a lot of saves this year. And I don't really know, how that's not going to help. And our bullpen too, inconsistent. We haven't had a lot of consistent bullpen pitchers. I believe Stephen Okert and George Kontos have basically been our 2 more consistent pitchers. The rest of the guys, you never know. It's a 50-50 chance. Sometimes you'll get a good one, sometimes you'll get a bad night. We've had days where we've gone in a 3 or 4 run lead, they've managed to lose it. We've also had times where they come in, 1 or 2 run lead, maybe a 3 run lead, and they've managed to hold us. You never know going in. And I don't think that the team can feel really confident, especially when you know the bullpen and the starters, you never know what you're going to get out of them.
Yeah, the pitching, I definitely agree with that. Madison Bumgarner just got his first win. That is ridiculous.
Congratulations, Madison Bumgarner.
I think that's ridiculous. Yeah. He just got his first win.
And especially with it being, so late in the year, to July. I mean, last year he won almost 20 games, and he got his first win way earlier than this.
And hopefully some young players in all the MLB learn this. Don't go dirt biking on your day off in Colorado.
Yep.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, well,
very true.
Speaking of injuries, it's just been plaguing the Giants all year. Belt just got injured. That is day to day. Of course, in the past years, Hunter Pence been injured. The only bright spot seems to be on this Giants team that's not been getting injured is Brandon Crawford.
And especially Buster Posey. He hasn't been injured too.
Yes, Buster
He's been very healthy this year.
And he's one of the best catchers right now
exactly,
in the MLB.
Yeah. I mean, he was their only All-Star as well.
Only All-Star, yes, that's very true.
He was representing the Giants down in Miami. All right, well now, the Giants are 32 games behind first place. Just like in San Francisco, fans in Cleveland also are pretty mad. Yep. Most of you guys have already heard that Kyrie Irving wants out from the Cavs. He does not want to be LeBron James' son anymore. There are new reports coming out every day, guys. He wants to leave. The few teams he's listed are the Heat, Spurs, Knicks, and the Wolves as his preferred destination. I know LeBron James is mad. I know Cleveland is mad. Where do you guys think he ends up? Let's do a little prediction. Go ahead.
Okay, well, my prediction is actually not one of his suggested teams, but I think this can easily happen. The Suns, I do have some numbers right here. The Phoenix Suns have an 18-1 odds of getting him, which is still pretty good odds. I mean, even though the Knicks do have 4-1, they still have the third best odds in the league after the Cavs and the Knicks. And I think they will trade Eric Bledsoe, a 2019 and 2018 first-round pick, and a couple bench warmers for Kyrie Irving and a couple other bench warmers.
That's pretty good, actually.
What do you guys think about that trade?
That's pretty good. I mean, I think if it's dealing, in my opinion, I think it's dealing a little bit of the future to get for the now. But
Yes.
with the Suns, they have such a nice bench. They've got a very young core, and I think a little bit of a veteran actually could end up helping them,
Yes.
especially in the long run. I mean, against the Warriors, against the Spurs, maybe not, but having the veteran there anchored for a few years until the new guys get caught up, I think that'll be a great idea.
Yeah. Well, actually, can I add one more thing? This could also work out because Eric Bledsoe, entering his prime, is actually LeBron's very good friend, actually. So, I find that very interesting.
CJ, what is your trade?
Well, mine actually, it's another one that that Kyrie is not listed, but I think I could see the Boston Celtics possibly getting him. They've got a little bit of a young core, and they've got Isaiah Thomas.
Yes.
Isaiah Thomas, very good last year. He has been plagued with injuries a little bit, but I could totally see them trading Isaiah Thomas and a little bit of a younger Jason Tatum.
Ooh, Jason Tatum,
He's a
yes.
new guy. He's been a new guy. Hasn't been here too much. He literally just got drafted, but he's a very good player. And my opinion, what Cleveland is going to lose in this, besides Kyrie, is they're going to be losing 25.2 points per game and 5.8 assists per game. Those stats are not easy to come by, especially in this league. You got so many good players. Most of them are tied up with one team, or they've already moved on. And I just don't think Cleveland is going to be able to come back very easily from that, especially, how they did last year. And they're going to maybe be in a little bit of a rebuilding mode for about a year or two, I think, after this.
Yeah, they definitely could. LeBron James' contract also expiring next year. Kieran, what is your trade?
I'm going to go with one of his preferred teams. I think he's going to go to the Timberwolves. You got Jimmy Butler on that team. He's a veteran. A lot of guys want to play with him now. They got Jeff Teague. I say they deal Jeff Teague and Shabazz Muhammad and some money to the Cavs because Muhammad, fresh legs off the bench. The Cavs don't really have that right now. Can start a couple games if someone's out or injured. Jeff Teague, they need a point guard if they're going to lose Kyrie. I say Teague's not Kyrie, but he's a veteran that can really help that team along with LeBron James. So I say he'll go to the Wolves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I actually think that I think the Cavs are really asking for more than Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague is an all-around point guard, can pass, can shoot, and can defend. But Shabazz Muhammad, great dunker, very athletic. But I think the Cavs really want more than just a bench warmer. They already got a point guard that they just signed, Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose and Jeff Teague, very similar players. Kind of fit the same role that I think they could play in the Cavs, and I just don't see that could be happening.
I kind of disagree. I think the Cavs need a point guard. They need fresh legs. I think that's where Shabazz Muhammad comes in, and I think that's great. I have Moutier and Will Barton, some young package going to the Nuggets. I think the Cavaliers will be a little petty on this one, because they don't want him to go to the listed teams. They're obviously really mad that he's wants to trade out.
Yes, and just to add on to what you say, I mean, he's basically all the reports have been saying he's not even talking to the Cavs.
Yes.
And I think I can kind of see Cleveland taking that as when LeBron left for the first time, he was kind of their showcase player. And now he's leaving. LeBron, the first time he left, people were burning his jersey in the streets. They basically were completely outing him because of what he did. And during the time period where he was in Miami, Kyrie kind of took over as, their showcase player.
And that's why he came back.
Yeah, and then LeBron came back, ended up coming back because he wanted to win a championship in his hometown. And Kyrie, I think it's just, for him, it's getting to be a little too much. He's playing as the number 2, and Kyrie does not want to be the number 2 man.
Well, he's the number 1 player, and most teams in the league, he can be a star. He can, and I think he can win MVP on one of the 4 teams that we've just suggested. Maybe not the Boston Celtics, but maybe the Phoenix Suns or the Timberwolves or something, or the Nuggets. That'd be a perfect situation for him to win MVP.
Yes.
It's going to be really interesting to watch in the next couple of days. I hope this trade gets done. I want to see some action.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Let's stay on NBA. What about the draft? The draft just happened this summer, June 28th. Really, a lot of young players coming in. A lot of, again, new faces, new places.
Yep.
What is your guys' prediction of the rookies? Who do you guys think will be the best next year? Who do you guys think will stand out the most?
Can I say, first of all, I think the best person is going to be Jason Tatum. Small forward out of Duke, averaged 18 points and around 18 points and 9 rebounds in the summer league. and he did play in 2 summer leagues. He played in the Utah Summer League and the Las Vegas Summer League, and he did very well in both of them. He was very fun to watch. He had all of the highlight reel dunks, very exciting. And I say in this draft class, he was the most NBA prepared player. He played at the top college with competition, and at Duke, met in the tourney, but yeah.
Well, I think De'Aaron Fox, I mean, young guy, really good, out of Kentucky, played very well. I mean, especially, very high class school like Kentucky. I mean, it's up there with Duke and UNC and Louisville. And I think just that level of competition is really going to help him transfer, especially with some of the talent that is coming up. You got Markelle Fultz out of Washington. You got Lonzo Ball coming out of UCLA, and he's probably played competition similar to that.
He did play Lonzo Ball in the 20 actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's already played number 2 overall pick, and he's a number 4 pick.
Yeah.
So and
he demolished him actually.
Yeah, no, and it's like, and actually, yeah. So I think he's ready for the league, and I just think he's gonna do very, very well.
I'm taking Ben Simmons. A lot of people forget that he's a rookie. They think, oh yeah, he was drafted last year, but he hasn't played a single dribble. Ben Simmons is like a point guard. A lot of people have been comparing him to kind of a Lamar Odom type of player, and I think he's going to be the best because he can fit right in to the Sixers offense. They have Joel Embiid, Markelle Fultz, scoring point guard. He's already claimed that he's the point guard. So I think Ben Simmons will be great coming off that knee. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people because a lot of people have kind of forgotten about him. Kieran, who do you have?
Trust the process.
I think someone has to mention Lonzo Ball. He tore straight through college. He tore up the summer league. He had a rough start, but near the end of the summer league, he got 2 triple-doubles in his last 3 games in the summer league. He could have gone number 1 in the NBA draft, but he specifically told every single team, I want to go to the Lakers, and I'm okay with going number 2.
Ooh.
I think he could have gone number 1. Yeah. But one thing I think that might hurt his career is his dad.
Yeah, they are the Kardashians of basketball, I'm just saying right there.
Yes, very true.
His dad's like getting in on everything, like the shoe topic, that was a big thing during the summer league. And I think, like, without his dad, he might be a better player off the court, but on the court, I don't think his dad can do anything about that.
I was waiting for someone to say and talk about LeVar Ball and Lonzo Ball. What were you going to say?
Speaking of the Lakers, actually, Lonzo's Ball teammate, actually, Kyle Kuzma, surprised a lot of people. I think he's the biggest steal of a draft, maybe biggest steal in the past couple of years in the NBA. Averaged 21 points, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block a game. It's very solid numbers for a guy who played next to Lonzo Ball.
That's very solid. To add on to what Kieran said, I definitely say that. I mean, I almost feel like Markelle Fultz almost kind of owes Lonzo Ball for being the number 1 pick. Because I think going in, everybody was pretty much assuming, hey, Lonzo's going to be number 1. Lonzo's going to be number 1. And then he tells all the other teams, hey, I want to go to the Lakers. Markelle suddenly just, hey, he's number 1 pick. I almost kind of feel like Markelle kind of owes being the number 1 overall draft pick to Lonzo. Yeah. I mean, especially since if he hadn't told all the other teams, hey, I want to go to the Lakers, I think Lonzo could have been number 1. Would have been number 1 just straight out.
All right, let's move on to our 3 things segment. That was our prediction segment where we predicted a lot of things, as you guys heard. All right, so I'll read out 3 pieces of news, and you guys will, of course, judge which one you guys like the best. So here is the first piece of news. The Baltimore Ravens are reportedly interested in signing Colin Kaepernick as their backup quarterback. Remember, Joe Flacco got hurt 3 to 6 weeks.
Yes, well, that happened during weightlifting, so injured his back.
Yeah.
Coach John Harbaugh has said the Ravens are interested and do plan to bring another quarterback. All depends on Colin Kaepernick. Okay. The second piece of news is that Kyrie Irving is not talking to the Cavs anymore. You might have heard that before, as we mentioned it a little bit. And third piece of news is that Pablo Sandoval is a Giant, and he also apologized to the fans for his harsh comments. And so, yeah, that's that. Now he's with the Giants. He's back. So, guys, Kieran, we'll start with you. Which one is your favorite news out of the whole week?
I don't think Cap is a starting quarterback in the NFL right now.
So
I don't think he's at that level. He was injured. He's missed a couple years.
I think compared to the people that like the New York Jets, for example, signed Josh McCown. Kaepernick is clearly better than him.
Yeah.
There are a lot of quarterbacks that
Ooh.
I'm not saying he's a starter. I'm saying he could be a backup, and I'm fine with that.
I agree.
He's already said he's
agree with
not
that,
going to kneel. He understands that, and I think it's time for the NFL to get over this whole
Yes.
thing
Like,
and
I-
sign a quarterback who actually has skill.
Yes, well, like actually, like when you think about it, Colin Kaepernick, excuse me, just because he like took to kneel in the American national anthem, you have freedom of speech in this country. Doesn't mean you don't have to sign him. He's still a good player. He can be a backup quarterback for most teams in the league, a good backup quarterback at that. And I think he'd be a good fit at Baltimore.
Well, my problem is, I mean, especially if he wants to beat out Joe Flacco, even with Flacco being out, 3 to 6 weeks, injuring himself doing weightlifting, I just don't know if the Ravens are going to want all that baggage. I mean, there was all the flare up last year. He was taking the press just taking the press out. He was telling them why he was doing it, and I think some people kind of felt offended because you don't see that in a lot of other sports. You don't see people kneeling.
I do
And-
get
Can I
all
just-
the
oh,
part where like people are getting offended and stuff, but talent-wise, there's no question.
No,
He's
no, no.
got to be on an
And
NFL
I'm not
roster.
going to say he's not bad. I mean, he was in Alex Smith's shadow for the longest time, and he came in. A lot of people did think he was good. I was not one of that camp, but that was just my opinion because I grew up with Alex Smith. I saw him all. He was really good. I think Kaepernick has the talent, but like with Johnny Manziel, he's got to kind of, focus it. He can't be going, hey, I want to talk about this. I want to do that. I want to do this. He needs to focus it on the football. If he can focus it on the football, then I think he will actually be a pretty good backup. And for some teams, he actually could be a starter. Like I could see him maybe starting on Jacksonville, maybe some the weaker teams in the league.
Cleveland,
I do agree.
Cleveland,
Well,
yeah.
actually, can I just say some stuff about Kaepernick, actually? I think he could go to the Baltimore Ravens, even though they just did sign the Arena League football quarterback, David Olson. Baltimore coach John Harbaugh is brother of Kaepernick's former coach, Jim Harbaugh, and Kaepernick's former offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, is now the Baltimore's offensive coordinator. And so I think that can really persuade him to join Baltimore. And he just wants to join, and he just wants to play football again. Like, this is his job. This is his career. This is how he's getting paid. And I really think he should. I really think the Baltimore
And one
Ravens
last
are
thing
gonna try.
people forget about him, he led that team to the Super Bowl
Yes,
against the
against
Ravens.
Baltimore, yes,
Against
yes.
Baltimore, and then he almost beat them in Baltimore.
All right.
Yeah.
So now let's move on to our last discussion. And this is going to be about the NFL. We all know NFL season is starting very soon. I'm so excited.
Very exciting, yes.
Patriots. Let's talk about those New England
boy.
Patriots.
The New England boys.
All right.
God.
So the Patriots, we all know, came back. What is it? 28-3.
28-3, yes.
Yep.
A 25
Yes.
point lead.
Even I forgot about that. 28-3 came back, dominated in the offseason, got a lot of new free agents, a lot of new people,
Brandon Cooks, one of them. Very
Brandon
good
Cooks is very good.
receiver,
Yeah,
yes.
he's a
really good
receiver.
players. Who can stop the Patriots?
You can start, yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Kira.
The Atlanta Falcons, they went up 28-3 last year. So we know they can get to the Super Bowl and do well in the Super Bowl. I think there was not enough playoff experience on that team. That's why they collapsed in the Super Bowl. I think a tiny bit more playoff experience, and they can give them the Patriots another run for their money in this year's Super Bowl.
And I've got a couple teams I think can beat them. Oakland Raiders, local, and they've got Derek Carr. They've got Richard Sherman. They've got a decent team this year.
Richard Sherman?
So Richard Sherman, Marshawn Lynch.
Yes,
Marshawn Lynch,
yes.
not Richard Sherman.
Beast mode.
He's still in Seattle. I don't think he's leaving anytime soon. But
Yeah.
they've got a decent team, and Derek Carr really revamped them. They went 12-4. That's basically that's one of the best records that the Raiders have had in a couple years. I think the Houston Texans also have a chance. They've revamped their line. They've got some firepower on offense. I mean, the defense, they got J.J. Watt and Jadavon Clowney. And, of course, on offense, they've got, a very nice wide receiver core. They've finally got a decent running back, and they've got Arian Foster at the running back. And this is a team that I don't know if they're going to beat the Patriots, but I think they could definitely hold them in check. Maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of people are saying Tampa Bay this year is a very strong team. Playoff bound, I'm not so sure about, but I think that Tampa could possibly hold their own against the Patriots.
I
Nate?
completely agree with you. But the one that I agree with you on most is the Raiders. As said, local town. And the local boy, Marshawn Lynch, joined them after retiring. Had a year, did some stuff. And adding him could really help them make a push to even the Super Bowl, even though they're in the same conference as the Patriots. And I think they can beat. And I think the Oakland Raiders can beat the Patriots in Mexico City on November 19th. Derek Carr entering his prime, alongside with the star receiver Mari Cooper. Both of these players have been plagued with injuries, but if they stay healthy, they can easily beat the Patriots. And Khalil Mack is getting better each and every year.
Very
I
true.
think he could easily be the best defensive player in the NFL right now. I think he is.
I have no team. I think the Patriots can only beat themselves. 2 years ago, the Patriots, they decided to dilly-dally around, lose the last 2 games, and they lost home field advantage, and so that's why they lost to the Broncos. So I have the Patriots beating themselves. The Patriots are just too good for me. All right, let's move on to the last wrangle. So the last wrangle is something that 30 seconds, no interruptions, and one person just talks.
Yep.
So we'll start out with Nate, your 30 seconds.
I got a
starts now.
couple things I want to talk about. First of all, Stanford football heading to Sydney, Australia, my mum's hometown, and Stanford being my dad's alma mater. It's going to be very exciting to watch that. Also want to talk about Mayweather versus McGregor. Very good player and very good fight that will be. And did you know that the pay-per-view will be $100, but you can see it in a couple movie theaters for $40 for 1 ticket? Steal for me.
All right, go ahead, CJ.
And I've got some interesting horse racing news coming up. You've got the Haskell Stakes at Monmouth tomorrow, actually, in Ocean Park. And August 26th, you got the Travers Stakes at Saratoga in New York. And then November 3rd and 4th in Del Mar, down south, you got the Breeders' Cup. That's one of the biggest horse racing events of the year. And after that, you got the Dubai World Cup, which, of course, will be in Dubai.
Kieran, go ahead.
I think somebody should talk about the Rockets. Nobody's talked about them yet. Chris Paul, CP3, what a big help he will be for that team. I think they can also give the Warriors a run. But now, MLB trade rumors. We're a couple days away from the deadline. Verlander, Darvish, Alonso, Grant, Hellickson still on the market. Hellickson was doing his warm-ups yesterday and was pulled out because of trade rumors, and they didn't want him to start that game because he might be traded. He wasn't, but Nunez left the Giants, and that's the biggest deal that's happened so far.
Okay, so my last thing is that it's such a good time of the year. Summer is almost ending. Seasons are starting up. NFL is going on. And I would say that the NBA is also starting. This is a good time of the year. Our next show will be all about the NFL. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thank you, and have a good day.
This was very exciting. Very exciting.
This was good.
Thank you so much for inviting me.